Hi guys, welcome to part 3. It is now time to assemble the desk organizer, so I'm just going to show you the drawing again. I recommend that you maybe take a screenshot of this, just to be sure which piece goes where. But we're going to start with the Y and the A's and the I, and that is the bottom, the sides, and the back. So first take the bottom. Now we're going to put the back on top of the bottom. And this is very important that it goes on top and not next to it. Because if you don't get this right, then the rest of the pieces won't really fit. So yeah, kind of important. We're going to use washi tape to hold it together while the glue dries. So take some long strips and put them under the bottom. And just let them hang loose at first. We're using washi tape because it is sticky enough to hold it together, but not too sticky, so it'll not ruin your paper. If you're afraid that your washi tape is too sticky, then just put it on your skin, maybe your arm, then pull it off, and then you can use it. Then it'll take some of the stickiness off. But you're going to take the eyepiece and add a line of glue on the bottom of that piece. And that is the part that is not wrapped in black cardstock. And then you're going to put it on top of the bottom. You want the side that is fully covered in paper to face out, and then the side that is only partially covered to face in. And then you're going to pull the tape up and stick it to the back. And if it's tight enough, it should hold your piece in place like this. And then you can take the sides or the A's. And you're going to add your glue to the side of your bottom piece and the side of your back piece, like so. And then you're going to take the side piece with the pattern paper facing out and push it up against both sides. Again, this is very important that you push it up against the bottom and the back and not put it on top of anything. And when you have it in place, you can add some washi tape to hold it together. Add a couple of strips to the corner and a couple of strips going from the bottom and up on the side. The back of your side piece should line up with the back piece, and the front of your side piece should line up with the front of your bottom. Wouldn't it be cool though if it could line up? That should maybe be an upgrade for the next one. But anyway, moving on to the other side. And with this one, it might be easier to see what I'm doing. Add your glue to the side of your back piece and the side of your bottom piece. Then put your side piece against the back and bottom, like this. And make sure it all lines up. And again, add a couple of strips of washi tape around the corners and from the side to the bottom. And then give that a little time to dry before we continue. Then you're going to take the R piece and the B piece and the Q piece and the J. And then we're going to get our eraser to get rid of all the small letters as we put in the pieces. And right now, these three are only here to help us put in the J piece to see where it has to be. The front of all the pieces has to line up. And I am just holding the Q piece against it to make sure that I have it in the right spot. Yeah, that was just to show you how we are going to do it. So now we're going to take the J piece and add our glue onto the bottom of the piece and onto the sides. And I'm sorry that I went out of frame there. But you're going to put the pieces back in, make sure they line up in the front, and then you're going to slide the J piece down against the B piece. And the R piece is to make sure that it's not going to go in crooked. And when you have it in place, you can just take a cloth and wipe off the excess glue. I made a bit of a mess here. I can see that right here I am using a baby wipe, and I do not recommend using a baby wipe because they are usually wet. and they will ruin your paper. So use a dry cloth. This glue is gonna dry clear, so this is fine. And just to be sure that we haven't moved anything, we're gonna put the R and the B back in and use the Q to make sure that all of it lines up. And we're just gonna check the side as well. And this actually needs to be pushed back just a little. And when you have it in place, just give it a bit of time to dry. Just a couple of minutes. And then we're gonna take the D piece and we wanna put that here. So we're gonna add some glue to the bottom of the piece and onto the long side. And then we're just gonna take one of the P pieces to get the right amount of space in between here. And then we're just placing it up against the J piece. And I'm also gonna push in the P at the bottom and then moving on to the next piece. And that is the K, and that goes here. So take your glue and add it onto the bottom of the piece and onto the left side, and only on the left side, and then onto the side of the D piece. And then try to put it in place without making too much of a mess with the glue. And then we're just gonna slide in the B piece and try to push the R piece in between just to hold it together. And then we can add the O, and that goes about here. So add your glue to the bottom and onto the left side. Sorry, I am going out of frame again. And then we're going to take the E piece, and that is to see how far out we need the O piece to be. Kind of like we did with the B. This might be easiest if you have someone to help you, as it can be a little hard to hold on to so many pieces at once. But you're going to slide in the O piece like this. And just give it a minute for the glue to set. And then you're going to take the C and add some glue to the bottom and to the long side. And then onto the rest of the O piece, like so. And then you're going to slide in the C piece. And I'm just taking one of the piece again to make sure that I have room to glue that in when time is. And then we're going to take one of the piece and add some glue to the left side and onto the bottom. And we want that placed right about here. And then we're going to take the E piece, add some glue to the long side and onto the bottom. And add some glue to the P piece. I think I already did that on mine. And then we're going to slide in the E, like so. And then put in the next P. Add some glue to the sides, both sides, and onto the bottom. And just slide that in between the E and the C. And then we can do the last P. And this time I'm only adding glue to the left side and on the bottom. And placing that, I'm placing that here. And now for the B piece, we're going to add our glue to the sides here and here. And then we're adding glue to the long side on the B piece and onto the bottom, like so. And then we are placing it up against the sides on the other pieces and up against the J piece, making sure that it all still lines up in the front. And then we can just press in the R piece to keep it all in place and let that dry for a minute. Then you're going to take the two S's and the T. We have now taken out the R piece. And these 3 pieces go under the R piece. And we're going to start with one of the S's. Cover the back of it in glue and place it onto the B piece at the bottom. And make sure that you have the end that is wrapped facing out. And then for the other S piece, cover that in glue and then place it on the bottom of the side. And again, make sure that the ends line up. Then take the T piece and cover that in glue on the back and place it between the S's in the back, like so. Then add a line of glue on the top of all 3 pieces and then press in the R and press that down. And then for all the small pieces that go inside, starting with the L, add your glue to the sides and onto the bottom and press that in so it lines up with the K piece. Then we're going to put in the F, so we're just going to borrow an ink or an oxide to see where we are putting our F piece. We want the ink pad to be able to slide in and out with no struggle. And then we're going to do the M. So add some glue to the bottom and the sides on your M piece and the short side on your F. And place that up against the F piece. And then for the G, glue to the long side and bottom and place that so it lines up with the F. And then the N. Glue to the sides and bottom and glue to the G piece and press that up against the G piece. And then for the H, glue to the side and bottom. And again, I am making sure that I have room for an ink pad. And if you have a little excess cardstock, just tuck that underneath. And then we are going to wait with the Q as we need to decorate it first. And in the meantime, we're going to leave this whole thing to dry. And it is now dry. So we can take off all the washi tape. And I think I got it all. And this is what it looks like now. Then we're going to assemble the drawer. So get the U, the V, and the W's. And your washi tape again. Add a couple of strips to the bottom of your bottom. Like so. And flip that around. And then take the V piece and add some glue to the bottom. And place that on top of your drawer. And then pull your washi tape up on the back. Then take off some more tape and add a couple of strips under the bottom on the right side. And then add your glue to the bottom of one of the W's. And onto the side on the V. And place that piece on top of the bottom up against the back. And pull the tape up. And move on to the other side. Place your tape on the bottom, like so. And then add your glue on the bottom of your side piece. And onto the side of the back. And place that on top of the bottom against the back. And pull up the tape. And leave that to dry. And in the meantime, we're going to do the front pieces. So you'll need these 3 pieces of paper. And of course, X and Q. A mini book ring and a ring fastener. And these 3 pieces of chipboard. And let's just pop those out. Like so. And let's start with the front of our drawer. And that is the X piece. And we're going to cover that in this piece of paper. Then we're going to take a small piece of this and put this frame around it. So let's start by cutting down the papers to size. And I want this piece to be just a tiny bit smaller than the X piece. So we need to take off a little from the side and from the top. And I am just using my X piece to measure. But it ended up being 7 by 2 5/8. And then in the frame, I want to use the right bottom corner from the little pink piece. So you're going to turn it upside down and cut it at 3 3/4. Then turn it so the left side is up and cut it at 1 5/8. Then we need to ink the edges on our frame and remember the inside. You're also gonna ink the edges on your paper and remember the small piece of chipboard and maybe use a black marker for the hole. Add some glue to the back of the bigger piece and place that onto your X and burnish with your cloth. Then take the little pink piece and add a small dot of glue in each corner. Then take the frame and place that on top, like so. Then cover the back in glue and place that on top of your X piece and burnish. Then we need to add our ring fastener. So we're gonna find the middle of our piece and we're gonna use a ruler and a pencil and make a little dot in the middle, and we want it to be just under the top of the frame, like this. So we're gonna take a pick tool and poke that through the piece where our dot is. And you need to take that loose paper off from the back before you do this, like I just did. And now we have a hole to put the little fastener through. And then we need to take the legs apart and press them down under the X piece. You want to hold it on the other side and use your bone folder to press it down so it is completely flat. And then we can glue on the piece of cardstock for the back and burnish that. Now the front for the drawer is done, so we just need to glue that on. So you can go ahead and put in the drawer to see where exactly we need to put the front, as it's not going to be straight in the middle. As you can see, on the left side we have one layer of chipboard we need to cover, and on the right side we have two. So we do need it to stick out a little bit more on the right side than on the left. Add your glue to the sides and to the bottom, and see that I put the Q piece on my mat, and then I am gonna put the drawer on top of the Q piece while I put the X piece on. And that is to make sure that the X piece lines up with the bottom when I close the drawer. And then you're gonna need your washi tape again. Add a couple of strips from the front to the side and make sure that it's tight enough to hold it in place. And do that on both sides, like so. And before it dries, we are just gonna try to put it in to see if it fits, and it does. So we're gonna carefully take that out again and leave that to dry. And then we can make our little charm. Take that small piece of chipboard and a little scrap from your paper and glue the chipboard onto the paper. I chose a spot that has a flower on the other side and give that a good press. And then just cut out the piece of chipboard and ink the edges and put the book ring through the hole. And then we can put that onto our drawer when it is dry. Moving on to the Q, and we want to cover that in this paper. So we're just going to cut out a piece from the corner here. Just place your piece and draw around it, and take your scissors and cut out that piece. Maybe just cut a bit more off than what you have drawn, just so we can take off a little piece with our trimmer to make a nice straight edge, like so. Then ink the edges and on the piece of chipboard too. Add glue to the back of your paper and place that on your cue. And remember to burnish. Then add your glue to the back of the chipboard and place that piece in the middle of the cue piece. And press that down. Now we can glue it onto the disc organizer. And you're going to add your glue to the 4 pieces in the front and to the bottom, like so. And then take your cue and place that so the bottom and the side lines up. And make sure that it's not going over your drawer. You don't want it to go further than the B piece. But then just press that in place and add some strips of washi tape to hold it. I am just going inside the drawer here. Then we're going to take this strip and cut off 1 3/4. We want it to be the same length as the sides, and they are 10 1/4. Then we need to cut it into 2 strips. And we're going to cut it right here between the pink and the gold strip, like so. And then we're going to do it one more time, so we have 2 similar strips. And cut. Then we're going to ink the edges on those 2 strips. And we want to glue them onto the side like this. So add a thin line of glue on the sides and on the bottom and put that on the side of your desk organizer. And then do the same with the other side, on the side and the bottom with the glue, and place that on the side of your desk organizer and burnish with your cloth. And now we have a little tuck spot on each side. Now the drawer is dry, so we can peel off all the tape strips. And if you want, you can add some ink to the back. And then you're going to take your little chipboard charm and put that onto the ring fastener, like so. Isn't that cute? And then we just slide in the drawer and our desk organizer is finished. I am so happy about the way this turned out. There is a little bonus part if you want to make the notebook as well. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have made a desk organizer, I would love to see it. So please share it on the Graphic 45 official community page. And please subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified. Happy crafting!